Yeah, we're live yet again.
Dude, I got my podcast robe on.
Yeah,
I got my comfy socks,
exactly.
my comfy pants. I'm
It
ready to
allows
go.
all the blood to go straight into your brain. No need to use any more else than the rest of your extremities.
That's right.
Because we gotta think heavy and hard about the topic of today. Because it's gonna be a difficult one.
So we're back on the video game train.
Yeah, we can't stop.
Okay.
It doesn't seem like we're able to talk about other things, but, you know.
I guess when you have 3 hobbies and one of them's video games. But
Yeah.
you know what? There's plenty to talk about.
No,
There's
it's
plenty
true.
to go over.
It's true. It's not just one hill. The topography is huge, and one of the ones that we're going to be taking a strike at today is going to be the concept of difficulty in video games. Again, to crib from ourselves from our last video, we touched upon how in Matt's current journey through the gungeon, he is beginning to really take a taste for continual defeat.
This is something that I've never experienced before with a video game. I've never had, and maybe it's just because of the unique kind of format of the game, these roguelike games that are coming out now, like Cuphead and Enter the Gungeon and The Binding of Isaac. I watched Jared play through that one. I've been thinking about it a lot. I've been thinking about why this Enter the Gungeon game is so fun when it's so fucking hard and unforgiving, and why I keep going back to it.
When you could always be doing something else,
Yeah.
right? That's always the big defense in terms of wanting. When someone asks you why did you quit the game, it's like because I have 1,000 other games that I gotta go do or play, and I'm not going to bash my head against the wall of this one in order to be able to, whatever,
Yeah.
just move forward.
For whatever, yeah.
But sometimes it strikes you. It doesn't really seem like there's any true rhyme or reason, even in terms of whether you already know the kind of genres of video games that you like. Because, for example, I like hack and slash video games, and all of them follow the same kind of formula of the 100%er, where you can do, triple S in Devil May Cry, get platinums in Bayonetta. I absolutely love the concept of that escalating type of difficulty because, because I thought I was going somewhere negative with that, but actually the more that I'm thinking about it here in the moment, when I played those games, Devil May Cry 3, Devil May Cry 1, and Bayonetta, I tried my very best, even as a young teenager, and it really opened my eyes to the abilities of slow incremental progression of one's skills. Because I played it a very weird way, because I bought Devil May Cry 3 on the PC.
Boy.
Yeah, I bought it on the PC, and that was before I ever had a controller, so I had to play it on the keyboard. And yeah, just playing it on the keyboard with both of my hands on the keyboard, clicking on it, just looking like I was doing weird accounting. But I managed to pull through. It was great.
So you kind of tapped into this much earlier than I did. This whole notion of not forcing yourself, but subjecting yourself to this incremental difficulty.
I think it once again it kind of just falls into the luck of the draw for Mike growing up, because when I was about 11 years old, my uncle bought me the StarCraft, StarCraft Brood Wars and StarCraft 1 double pack, and he bought it being the kindest guy ever, thinking this is a great double game for my nephew. That's awesome. He's gonna love it. And he didn't realize how hard that game was. That game was very difficult. When I was young, I was only able to beat it using all of the cheats that they have in the back of the big old book that
they put them in the back?
Yeah, they put all the.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really sweet. Take off all the fog of war. Make it so your people don't die as often. it made the game accessible for someone like me because then I could actually appreciate the Zerg and the Protoss being from the Xel'Naga, and I could actually follow that without breaking my head. But it did begin to glean at me the concept of trying again and trying again because after I cheated the first time and I saw what I wanted, I did come back because it was the only game I had. So it's like, well, okay, I can keep cheating or I can actually try my best to see it. I mean, to see it through. And having already beaten the game one time, now I didn't have that weird anticipation that always comes on you. How I wanted to just close the pin on the situation. And
how old were you?
I was about 12 at that point because I got it when I was 11. Tried my very best, but I just cheated my way through. And then it was later in my getting into my teenage years that I started liking at least the PvE version of StarCraft and StarCraft Brood Wars. And that just it did. It just sated and began to grow my appetite for those kind of more brainy kind of situations.
Yeah, I never really picked up on it too much as a kid, but the weird thing is like, the more that I've been thinking about it, a lot of the games that were on, say, the original Nintendo or Super Nintendo, Sega, a lot of them, in a way, are roguelike games.
Oh, totally.
Like, Super Mario Bros. Is essentially a platformer roguelike game, where if you die, and you go back to the start of the game. And it's weird to see that kind of, because that used to be like the difficulty curve, like Contra used to be impossible to beat.
And it's interesting, but the thing we have to consider though is that back then it was a limitation of the hardware that caused them to be that way. Who knows if the creators of Super Mario would have ever wanted to make it that way if they would have had the ability to add autosave in the beginning of every level. So you don't have, when you die in X world, you don't have to go all the way back to the beginning. I'm sure they would have loved to be able to add that, but it's...
But this is, see, you're bringing up an interesting point, because when you're gauging how fun a game is when you're playing it, I think the difficulty to playability ratio is not only probably the most important thing about a game to keep people playing it, but also the most subjective. Like, when it comes to Super Mario Bros. As a kid, eventually we all beat it, probably, right? Super Mario Bros. 3 or whatever.
I was never able to beat number 3.
Never finished it.
That one was hard.
I'm sure you could have.
I beat Super Mario World because I owned that one. See, back in Honduras, I owned a Super Nintendo, but I didn't own any games. But my mom worked at an Avon where there was a little renting booth nearby, and she would rent the game for like 4 days, and then I would have to play the crap out of it. Play Yoshi's Island, just fly through that game.
That was a great game.
It was Donkey Kong Country. That's that's how I played. That's how I played all those Super Nintendo games, just in a flash. And then I had to give it back, and then hope maybe my mom would be down to give me, because it was hard to make the point, or at least when I was a child, to ask them for the same game twice. They're like, just go, go get another one. That was.
You already played that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, this whole ratio thing, I've been thinking about a lot. That there are some games that are too easy, and it makes them boring.
Example.
I'm gonna think of like the Fable games come to mind immediately. They're what's a couple other ones?
Yeah, they are fun in terms of lore, but
right.
It's just whack this guy here, whack that guy here,
right.
And it's like, do you want to use lightning or fire this time?
Yeah, there's something about that, the lack of difficulty that sometimes makes me not want to play the game.
You're entirely right. You're entirely right. I'm thinking back, and when I was a child, I never fully got a game over in that game because they give you so many of those little golden vials that pop the moment that you actually do get knocked out, that you just come back with full health and you just finish whacking the guy, and it's like, okay, well, that's it.
Yeah, it's this lack of consequence.
Right. Very padded.
Right. There's so many games that fit this scope that I can't think of just off the top of my head. But that's the weird thing is that like.
But what exactly, I think we should kind of parse out into what kind of categories of difficulty we're talking about.
Right.
Because I made the example of adding, the hack and slashers like Devil May Cry and Bayonetta. That's a special flavor of difficult that isn't the same as, say, trying to be good at Civilization.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, the shades. Yeah, and there's shades there too in each one, like RTS games. Civilization, Command and Conquer, StarCraft. There's different shades of difficulty here.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, Sins of a Solar Empire. Have you ever played that one before? That's an RTS that's ridiculously difficult to play because it's like a genuine galactic army that you're dealing with, and it's like that's the kind of game that when AI come around, they'll have a lot of fun to play. Or maybe watching really specialized AI playing that game would be really cool to watch because when it's the kind of game that you can zoom in as close as you can to even the smallest little frigate or like the smallest little racer, and like you can just see them zooming through and look from their perspective out of the giganto situation happening. It's very beautiful, yeah. Anybody ever that hasn't played Sins of a Solar Empire and just wants a good challenge, that's a big one. But be warned, there's no actual storyline in that game. It's all just lore. It's like you pick your team, and that team has a specific lore that you can kind of immerse yourself into, and then play the game that way, and kind of see maybe if you get goodies along the way that parse out more of the lore. But there is no campaign per se.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of a turnoff for me.
It is a big turnoff for me too, I will say.
There's something about you have to marry some kind of story in there in order to get my juices flowing, If they're like City Skylines, wonderful game, great tip of the hat to SimCity, but there's no campaign, there's no story. So even though I'll play it every now and then because it's kind of fun to figure out how traffic works.
Right.
It's
like this is what civic service feels like.
God, this is exhausting. Why am I doing this? It's weird that there are. Yeah, that's a strange thing, man. It's certainly different for everybody. But the thing that boggles my mind, and maybe I'm starting to understand it, maybe I'm not, is I really like Enter the Gungeon. I like how hard it is. I like how it challenges me. I don't know if I could ever play through Dark Souls. I'm not sure. I tried one time, and I got so discouraged so fast that it's like maybe that's one of those games where
you put it out there now, so you probably are gonna end up having to try it out again.
Did you? Here's the thing, Jared was always trying to get me to play that game, and he's like, just look online, just take help. I'm like, man, that's not how I want to play a game. I want to like figure all the things out for myself. But at the same time, I know it's hard enough that I probably should take some helping hands when I can. Cause
I don't think it's necessary, man.
No,
unless you beating the game in and of itself is pretty self-explanatory. There is some contextual things in the overworld that you have to really keep an eye off to get it, but it's not by any stretch of the imagination difficult. Especially, and I know you, so I know it's not going to be difficult for you to figure out what to do next. If you want to see, there are a lot of hidden goodies in that game that if you want help finding them, that's totally fine. Some you do kind of feel like you do need some help with because it, like the whoever designed it just decided to just be absolutely, just the most esoteric person ever and be like, I don't, stand on this nest and be a little ball, and then wait a good bit of time, and eventually a crow will come by and pick you up and take you to another area. God. Yeah. does that just scream obvious to you in a game about trying to look through Lost Civilization? No, right? So it's like there's no harm, no foul in trying to getting a little help on that one. It's but it's it all comes down to how much you want the handheld.
Yeah.
The game doesn't necessarily actually slap you for feeling as though you've looked for help in certain areas, but you take what you can. It's a matter of survival, is really what it is in terms of Dark Souls and the Soul series. It's just within the lore of the game, you're meant to just stop and eventually go hollow like all the crazy people that are around you.
Right.
They're all representations of what people that didn't want to keep playing the game look like. You just go hollow and just whack at whatever comes near you because you're afraid.
God.
But you have to keep the ember alive.
That's a great sentiment. I like
No, it is, man, and it falls once again. It's like we're having the same conversation twice because it's exactly what is happening inside of the little ember of every one of the 4 characters you play and Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah.
I saw, and it's like triple digit amount of deaths. It's like each one of them has died at least 30 times. That hurts. I'm sure that the Gungeon makes them feel where they get shot.
Here's the funny thing about that game is the whole point of it, as far as I understand it, is that you're trying to find a gun that can kill your past, and once you kill your past, you set yourself free from the shackles of entering the gungeon. It's like I literally have to beat it before I could stop thinking about it. Yeah.
Right, because it's not cheap difficulty, which is what can make you just say what just throw away something that you feel
that's got to be the hardest part about being a game developer, is finding that balance, finding the point where it's not so easy that somebody's like, nah, I'm not feeling challenged, and it's not so hard that you're like, fuck this game.
Right.
Yeah.
But fuck this game, I want to prove it wrong. That's the thing. I want to always be able to say, fuck this game. I want to be able to do it, but at the right times with a smile in my face.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I want.
I'm beating you.
Yeah.
I'm better than you. Kind of mental. Yeah, there's something, I forget who says this, but there's something about forcing yourself to do something really, really hard that I think is good for you in some way. Like, it helps, I don't know, I feel less stressed out, not during playing the game, but afterwards. Like, after I've subjected myself to that period of difficult fucking headbanging against the wall, there's something relieving about it, and there's also something like strength building about it. Where it's like if you're doing something really, really hard, it makes other things not seem as hard. Like, even in real life. Like, it's kind of like the same thing as like when you get a really good, what it feels like to me is when you get a really good workout and like an hour later you feel relaxed and you feel calm, and I feel like it's kind of the same thing. You're just exercising your brain and your discipline in the moment, and especially for really difficult games.
It kind of sounds like a placebo effect of the wilderness.
Yeah.
Because I love the belief that in all reality, my brain, from like the brain down or like the eyes down, doesn't know what's happening. It's just going by the pantomimes that my brain is telling it is the right movement to do at this very moment. But it could very well be inside of complete voidness and darkness as far as it understands. And because of that, when you simulate the agitation and the eventual relief of having made victory, your brain, probably only having the genes of the savannah and whatever pastoral wilderness your ancestors might have come from, just automatically is like, oh, we probably just took down a caribou, guys, or like we took down a wildebeest. Like, we feel good.
Yeah.
That felt good.
Yeah.
And because those feelings were only reserved back in the days for that genuine moment of authentic victory. That those feelings were only reserved for victors, and now everybody can have them through, I guess, simulated victory? No, it's not simulated victory because it's real, right?
Yeah.
It's like, not everybody can beat X game. Like, I am nowhere near as good at Enter the Gungeon as you are. Like, and you're not even that good yet, having not even beaten the game yet, right? So it's like the scaling of potential power that you can eventually come to, or finesse that you can eventually come to hold, is quite amazing. And knowing that it's a scalable mountain, I think makes it a bigger thing. It's like it's not a mountain made of glass. It's like, you know that mountain's inaccessible. There's no way you're gonna be able to climb it.
Right.
It's just there for the shows.
Right.
Like this one is like just jagged. Like, yeah, you can squeeze your finger in there, squeeze your knuckles, white knuckle it up.
Yeah, the way that I've always thought about it is like, because like I'm a really big pussy when it comes to a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like I don't like getting shots and things like that. And
I mean, who does?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just.
I think that's a poor example because no one enjoys getting shot.
No one likes it, but
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to look at it. Don't even tell me when you're doing it. I don't want to. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. Kind of like out of sight, out of mind type thing. But I always think the thing that I think about to comfort myself, and I think it translates to video games pretty well when it comes to the ones that I've really challenged myself to push through, is like, if that asshole can do it, then I can fucking definitely do it. Like if they I think about people driving on the road who, as we've all seen, are morons, all of them. And you're like, well, that is what I thought before I got my license. I was like, man, if that asshole can do it, then I can definitely do it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the only reason that I will even still consider Dark Souls in the back of my mind is like, man, I know there's some person out there who's just a moron who's beaten this game, and if they can do it, god damn it, I can do it.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I feel like you're a couple good sessions away from being a complete convert in terms of that series.
It's very possible.
It just needs to catch you at a good time.
Yeah.
And it needs to catch you at a moment after a good victory.
Yeah. Maybe after I beat him to the gun.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah,
you need to galvanize yourself at the thing that you're already trying to beat at right now, and then with that fortification we come through, and then we make chinks in that armor to make it stronger the next time. It's really the big thing every single time. Like, for example, I started replaying. Oh no, one thing I was going to mention before I even go into my little anecdote of my own is that I think that when you mentioned how it must be really tough for a developer to come to the grips of how do we go about making AI that's good enough to pose a challenge. I think a lot of the developers just ended up throwing in the towel and just outsourcing the difficulty to the public again by essentially making everything be multiplayer. And it's like, okay, you can use the single player as a means to be able to tutorialize yourself in X degree that you want until you eventually have to come against the real people. And yeah, that it kind of seems like that was always like the culmination of everything until eventually you might get an AI that just trounces everybody at all times.
Well, a lot of games have that kind of representation in the form of difficulty levels, or the challenges, or the weird secrets in Dark Souls. You know, they have those. Yeah, I guess they still give it up to the community, but it's like there's always going to be some crazy person who takes it to the next level.
Right. And difficulty is also something that merits a lot of time. For example, being and living inside of any particular MMO for like a genuine desire to be part of the community requires you to pretty much divorce yourself from this reality in order to be able to meet the responsibilities that you have elsewhere. Because that kind of does in fact seem to be the thing that buckles you into whatever reality you live in, is which one's responsibilities do you think are better. Like, you're always going to have responsibilities. You always got to go you got to go pick apples, you got to kill monsters, you got to go do something, right? You either do it here or you do it here. It's like, and you have to always be making the teetering choice of which one of those responsibilities is more important to you.
And then
because it's never true pleasure unless you genuinely begin to consider your responsibilities as pleasures. It's like, I have the responsibility of playing this game and getting better at it. Do I take on the responsibility of doing that? So, you know, and with Enter the Gungeon, you're like, merrily, of course, let's
Yeah.
do it, right? And
Yeah, I don't have an MMO example, but Destiny. Well, I guess Destiny is kind of an MMO.
yeah,
That's how it feels when you are the sixth man in a raid crew. You know what I mean? Like you need 6 people. Y'all gotta get together. You gotta somehow get 6 adults together for a couple hours on the
Yeah.
internet.
3 hours is
yeah. That's it definitely. That's weird that you say that because that's what I felt right away when you were saying that. It's like when I was playing Destiny, the first one, I didn't play the second one as much, but it was like, it's Thursday, so it's Iron Banner. I gotta go play Iron Banner, and then it's Saturday, so Xur's here, so we gotta go get our exotics, and then we gotta go do the Nightfall, and then we gotta go do strikes, and then it's like, but I wanted to.
And then the night and the day is just gone.
Yeah, yeah, everything is gone. Get home from work, play Destiny. Wake up, play Destiny. If it's the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a really weird feeling. I've never played a game. I've never had the opportunity to play an MMO like on a computer because I never had a decent enough.
Thank goodness. It sounds like, because you would be another victim to the WoW.
Well, how many hours did Guild Wars take from you?
Oh, for me, 2,500. Yeah, but those were inconsequential teenage hours.
Right.
All right, that was keeping me away from vandalism and drugs. Thank you, Guild Wars 1. Thank you for keeping me on the straight and narrow the whole time. I'm
For
like,
a little bit.
go hang out with friends. Fuck you guys. Are you assassins and sweet shamans? No.
How are you gonna help me fight the bots?
Yeah,
man?
exactly.
Fuck you.
Right? Yeah, you guys have no AoE buffs in real life.
Oh.
But yeah, so even the concept of it wanting to be good, unless you're some weird savant with superpowers, it'll require you as a normal individual to just throw away your time at this, and I don't mean that in a derogatory terms, but I mean like you are genuinely throwing away your time at whatever it is that you're seeking to do as a passion. And
it's weird too that the diversity of that, because there are, that's obviously the reason there's so many different types of video games, but some people are really, really fucking good at a video game, or like a handful of, or a genre, and
don't even touch anything else for the most part.
Right, like we have a mutual friend who every time I watch his Ghost on Trials, I get furious and never want to play the game again. Because not only is that game extremely challenging in its later levels, but it's unforgiving in its roguelikeness. You fucking have you ever played Trials?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have. I managed to be able to get Trials Fusion for free on the PS4 when they were giving it for free, and that game was it Trials HD. Was it the first one that they put out on the Xbox 360? Oh man, we rocked so many hours away into that game.
Did you ever beat it?
Nope,
I never beat it. Nope, but I know that guy did, and that
Yeah.
pisses me off because I know that game is fun and I like playing it, but not enough to beat it. At the end there.
And he didn't just beat it; he mastered it.
Yeah.
He cut it up into little pieces and snorted that shit essentially. Yeah.
It's weird that there are games like I really like the micromanagement sims like Tropico and
Oh yes.
wonderful games.
Now there's a game that managed to be able to marry difficulty and a good story at the same time, because man, there have been plenty of times where I've been playing a good 45 minutes of an island thinking everything's going swimmingly, and then all of a sudden I'm like, nope, it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, there's a riot or
or a hurricane
Yeah.
or some other baloney, but it doesn't. That kind of thing. It's lame the first time, but once again, it's the game teaching you what can happen. The variabilities are out to get you, because I didn't think that putting out an antenna for potential hurricanes was going to be a good enough investiture, So, oh yeah, let's put up another high school. Good fat lot of good high schoolers did to me when a hurricane came by.
Half of them died.
Yeah.
And the building fell down. And
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love those games. Because it's like the most organic kind of difficulty because it's like the difficulties of being a human, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never really thought before about, before playing that game, about how, like, in a population, you're gonna have people that want a church. You gotta build them a church.
Right.
If you want to keep people happy.
It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't
Right.
matter what your propensities are in relation to to what that even means to them. It's like, no, like you build me a church, or give me the land to build me a church and make sure that no one's gonna come and mess with us.
Right. And even more in depth with that's the thing that game really knocked out of the park was the way they broke down their populace into those categories, because then you had the nationalists, people who are like, we don't want fucking immigrants.
No.
Stop bringing immigrants in
Yeah,
here.
like there's not enough jobs already.
Yeah.
Like,
and you're like, you know what, man, you're kind of right. How do I balance this,
mm-hmm.
That was the difficulty in that game, and it was also what made it fun for me, along with, like, building shit, 'cause that's always fun, but...
Yeah, I mean, and just the super, like, tongue in the cheek, like, humor about everything. Everything is taken to the extreme in terms of what the representations of what they mean.
Mm-hmm. Those awesome. Make the best Sims are the ones with the either the tongue in cheek kind of black comedy to them, or just the because like XCOM is kind of like that, but on the far end of the spectrum, like.
Oh, dourness and seriousness.
Right, when people die, they're like screaming for their life.
Yep.
Other people are like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Exactly, they could be screaming before they even die. It's like, I panic, ah!
And while it does make you feel shitty at the time, in retrospect, it's pretty funny. And it that's part of what's attractive about it, too.
Right.
Yeah, that's another one of those XCOM. If we're talking about fucking difficult games, holy shit.
Right.
And
that's a slow burn. Yeah. That's like a frog, like a lobster or a frog in the cooking pot kind of thing. It's like, what's happening here? Like, oh man, like there's another invasion. What? No, they're coming here now.
Oh my god.
It's like, my people are in gurneys, and then like by the end, it's like, sorry, like the people in the gurney have to come out and help.
They gotta get out of here.
They got like 3 bars of health.
He's a rookie that just started yesterday. You're like, dude, come on, on, we need a 5th gun.
You wanted the real experience.
That's a fucking. I guess that's technically a roguelike game, but that's a. Did you ever beat the first one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I eventually beat the first one.
Oh yeah, through. There's probably a gigantic swarm of the scum that I used while I was saving through that game.
Yeah.
But I did it. Yep. I most certainly did. I beat 1 and 2.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I never beat 2.
No, not even through the scum?
That one beat me down.
Wow.
Yeah. I still haven't.
There you go. Another one that you should totally retry, because it's possible. Kimmy and I were able to do it together, actually. Mm-hmm. We flipped with each other between missions and just kind of being the right-hand man of each other.
2 heads are better than 1.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
A great idea.
Justin and I did that for with XCOM 1. We did a dual party one together like that. It was very fun. You and Hannah should do it.
That's a great idea.
It makes for a lot for bonding experience and a lot of hatred too. Because man, eventually it's like you're like, I'm gonna do it my way. Okay, it's like you've given enough suggestions.
And then you fuck up and you throw the controller. Fuck this. No, I did pick that game back up a couple months ago, and I started a game, and then an hour later I think 2 people had died already. I was like, I'll come back to this later. Sometimes they're a little too hard in the moment. That's probably what it is. It's probably you gotta find the right time, be in the right energy. I don't think it's gonna happen right now because it's a holiday season and video games are coming out.
Mm-hmm.
None of them look very hard.
No, not at all.
Yeah, what do you think you're gonna play through this fall? Because there's something special about the fall for me. Every time the leaves start falling, I'm like, I gotta get downstairs and play some video games.
Yeah, because now you have a perfect excuse not to be outside. It's like, it is cold. Everyone can agree. We have a strong consensus that it's cold enough outside that I shouldn't be out there. All right, cool.
Good.
Man, well, I just finished beefing up my computer again, So I am finally able, and I got and I also finally got an Ethernet cord long enough to be able to connect my modem to my computer. So I'm finally playing LAN, baby. And and yeah, just probably try to play some more For Honor. That game's really had quite the amazing Phoenix-like resurrection in my heart because I bought it when it first came out and I chucked it aside a month later because the frustrations of who knows how many times I got my game um, dropped in the middle of the disgusting um, like personal server situation that they had before. It was it was a travesty.
Is that game all PvP? Is that how it works?
And it has a storyline. It has a storyline that is more archetypes and philosophy of the world than any sort of personality to it. Because because what it's really supposed to do as the storyline is tutorialize you in terms of the kind of heroes you're going to get to play as. Right, each level is a different hero depending on. You start with the Knights, Vikings, Samurai, so you get the flavor of each one of them. But the nice thing about it is that, as you were saying, they were able to marry at least some form of story, as flimsy as it may be, that actually gives you some understanding as to why this all even came to happen together. There was at least some contextuality, no matter how you can make fun of it all day long, and I'll be right there, laughing with you at the at the thinness of the jam, but the jelly is there.
It's still
right?
a jelly sandwich.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. You eat it, you don't think about it too much. But yeah, I mean, like I think the two things that were really kicking my ass was just the inability to play. With strong connections and just graphical lag, and both of those things are out. And now I've played a good 3 hours. It's been butter. It's been amazing.
There's something I think unique in that kind of difficulty in the PvP sense of the word, as opposed to the PvE.
Yeah.
I remember, as I'm sure you do, back in 2007 or so, Modern Warfare 2.
Oh. Hell yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I've never before challenged myself as much as I have in a PvP game. Actually, to stop playing. I convinced myself to not play anymore.
I think we all had to have that silent conversation. Like,
that death.
Yeah.
That inner death.
Yeah.
For me especially, though, because it fucked my chest up. My heart was racing. That was, see, that's a different kind of difficulty. That when you are in a high stress, high intensity situation, that all players on the battlefield have the same tools to their disposal.
Yes.
And to see who can utilize those tools the best.
Exactly. That is a very, very amazing point to touch on, because that's exactly the thing I feel like when I'm doing the 1v1 duels in For Honor is, and that in that setting, the armor that you're wearing is purely cosmetic. There's no, it's all just your actual technique against the other person's actual technique. And now that they have dedicated servers that actually do some parsing out in terms of your how good you are relative to your opponent, you actually have some good butting of the heads. It isn't just one person that's amazing at doing counter blocks and and just quick heavies and feints, against somebody who doesn't know how to do shit, and just having a wacky looking, it's like an actual two people actually getting better with each other, feeling each other out, being like, okay, I got you that time, oh, you got me that time,
Yeah. There's
it's like the most silent evolution of friendship I have ever, I've ever felt. And it's something that no other medium I don't think could have ever given to us prior to this moment in time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you were telling me earlier that you made a friend.
Yeah.
On 4 hours.
Yeah, just a digital friend. We've by happenstance just doing quick matches on 1v1. We liked each other's, flows, and we just kept going back and forth for like an hour and a half until eventually we had such a good match that we just sent each other a friend request, and then we went and played 2v2s with each other, so we started complimenting each other and just started rocking that away. Oh man, it's like it's like what those cheesy commercials online, I mean on like TV tell you about what it'll be like to have like console experience. Like it does like have the serendipity of happening every once in a while, you know. But I think that might also be just the dispositions of how you come in, you know, as the player too. Because if you come in hot, you know, being like, man, fuck this guy, and like, you know, like he's a fucking cheater and all this shit, you automatically go in through the antagonist lens and then completely derail any possibility of actual camaraderie between people.
Or
You
fun.
know, it's like, yeah, huh?
Or fun.
Or fun, exactly. You deflate any possibility of that because no, it's never my fault. You know, it's always somebody else. And hey, it might totally be true. It might totally be true, but we're still playing a game, and you're actually at fault then for being so good that you can't lead people to, you know, be as good as you.
This is one
You
thing
know?
that I really appreciated about, and it's kind of a stretch to say it's a video game, but the Magic Duels game that
No.
they used to have, the Duel series.
I mean, it depends on what kind of Magic you're talking about. Because I've never played Magic in the card, in the actual cards. I've only ever played it through the digital.
Through the video game, yeah. Yeah, I do like playing the card version. Obviously, I think the video game version is better because you don't have to keep track of, you know, math or anything. It's all right on the screen for you. You don't
Yeah,
have to pay
this
attention to
this
shit.
little room right here isn't filled with Magic cards,
Right.
unnecessary Magic cards of yours.
Right, little dice that we need to keep track of, little extra token cards. There's so much shit in that game, but I also experienced that same type of camaraderie through the difficulty of matching wits, you know, with somebody else.
Oh.
I couldn't tell you. There's probably 20 people on my Xbox friends list that I don't know who they are, but they're on there because of Magic Duels. Because we played a game, he beat me, I beat him, and we were fascinated with each other's.
Yeah, it was just awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and that game is certainly difficult. You know, it's there's quite a learning curve for. It's kind of like most card games or most video games. Really, it's really easy to learn, really hard to master, right? Like if you want to get really fucking good and get up to the top levels, you got to sharpen yourself against other people. Over and over and over again, or sharpen yourself against the game's AI over and over and over again.
Just about tempering the blade, the blade. Just.
But then you get all those, like, that get inviting those friends, those people that I don't know, talking to them even like strangers. I never talked to strangers, but I did over Magic because of how challenging it is, and how beneficial it is to your I don't know, to your happiness. To just, I would have never come across that had I not spent hours playing Magic Duels. You know, I never would have experienced that.
Yeah, I think we all come to lose focus sometimes as to why we even come to play video games. That sometimes we do it with such compulsion that we start getting angry at the doing of the video game, and it's like you could just stop playing at any moment if you seriously feel as angry as you're feeling right now. You know, to be calling people whatever slur, or, you know, just being angry at the air around your house and just bringing it down, you know. But it can't be helped sometimes.
Sometimes.
It's difficult, and, you know, no one's reprimanding anyone over here. It's just a matter of reflection and just trying to keep it in mind that we're playing a game. We're playing a game. If it really is causing you to have so much anger from the difficulty, just put it down. You know.
Yeah, it's not worth it at that point.
It genuinely isn't, because
you're supposed to be having fun.
Exactly, and stress is it's a teetering thing, because some of it is good for you, and it keeps your wits alive and stuff. But then eventually it can come to poison you if there's too much of it. You can your body can begin to just hyperproduce, you know, unnecessarily, especially in a video game setting, because you're not actually in danger. But the rest of your body doesn't know what exactly it means for when your brain is shooting out all those signals all over it. It's just like, okay, well, it's either life or death, and I pick life.
Yeah. I'm fighting. I'm not fleeing.
Yeah.
But we all know that guy that what do we call them? The rager. The fuck this game, dude. Fuck these guys. This is bullshit. And they're still playing. And you're on the other end of the microphone, fascinated.
Yeah.
That they're even still playing.
And sometimes I give the little bit of the benefit of the doubt. That's a little bit of a character that you play alongside that, that setting. You know, it's like,
that's true.
Just the trash talker is always, that's an archetype in and of itself in terms of the situation.
Yeah.
And it's it's always about being measured and about tact. Because there are good moments for good trash. There's just good. There's moments for it. Anybody can lay it down really well, but just being compulsive about it, just always wanting to be the shit talker, just always wanting to be the guy with the witty thing for no reason. It's it gets old.
I think I prefer to do that in a personal setting as opposed to an online, like fighting games.
Right.
Budokais or Ninja Storms or whatever.
Yeah, getting rowdy.
Yeah, but then they're right next to you and that it's not personal.
There's enough nonverbal contextualizations to understand that, hey, this is not me being a douche to you. This is me being a friend that wants to hype up the moment.
Right. I'm trying to make you better so you can make me better when it comes to that type of rivalry. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because at the end of the day, there will be no higher difficulty than another person, right? It's like, sure, the AI gets difficult, but it feels so tailored. You come to understand the sequencing that the game goes through. It's like, okay, we're doing rocket launch, fire, like fire gun, like blah 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 blah, like down
learning the bosses in Dark Souls.
Just the algorithms and stuff of the movements until eventually I don't know, it always feels like to me like life is kind of sideways, and then once I see what the moves like the actual movements, it just clicks in. I'm like, oh, now I see. And you see the snaps, you see the moment when like they go from one move to the next one, and you can like start giving away the tell. Like even 3 seconds. 3 seconds makes all the difference in the world when it comes to those situations. 3 seconds, you're done in 3 seconds.
That's how long it takes to get a shot. I'm still a pussy about it. Yeah, that's I think this is a good fighting games, especially. I grew up on that shit.
Yeah.
One
Did you ever play Soul Calibur?
Yeah. I played some Soul Calibur
6 just came out.
Yeah. I wasn't a big fan of that one as other fighting. I love most fighting games, Mortal Kombat,
You like
Street
more
Fighter.
you like more
I think
what?
we both know that the best fighting game ever was Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 2.
2, yeah, for sure.
Because it incorporated all of my favorite things about fighting games and put it in a 3D environment that you could move around in freely, which it's never been topped before in my opinion. But
no. And now that it's on PC, you can play it in its full 60 FPS, 90
glorious.
FPS glory.
Glorious. A little too fast. I was used to the lag.
Jared and I went all like that Dragon Ball it's just like bleep, 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 bleep.
That is the coolest. Yeah, like you said, man. You can't. The hardest thing is always going to be fighting another person for sure, because they're not going to have the same algorithmic tells that the AI in the game that you're playing does. They're gonna challenge you to there was sometimes when we were playing that game where neither one of us knew what was going on. We didn't know what our fingers were doing. We didn't know what was happening next. But being
you just massage the controller until it gives you the win. Give it to me, baby. Yeah.
You kind of feel it out. Just squeeze that win out of the controller. Yeah, dude. That I grew up on that shit. That was I used to spend when I lived with my uncle as a younger teenager. I didn't live with him at the time. I lived with him later. But we Budokai 1, Budokai 2, and Budokai 3, we would spend. This was when I worked for him too, so I was hanging sheetrock. But we would spend the entire night playing that game together. 7 hours, just me and him, back and forth, nonstop. Fucking.
Playing that stupid rock paper scissors game over and over again. Oh my god, nothing turned me off harder about that game than that.
That's why Budokai 2 was the best one.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have that bullshit. That Dragon Rush bullshit.
Exactly. Guess my button.
Yeah. Fucking stupid. I'm so glad they came out with Dragon Ball Fighters because that really redeemed, I think, the name in the fighting. Because Tenkaichis were just kind of weak. Xenoverse is okay, but it's not really the.
It's just an
PvP.
MMO. It's just MMO
Yeah.
light, and it's just,
Yeah, it feels hollow, and they really brought it back with Dragon Ball Fighters. It sucks that as an older guy now, or getting older, you just don't have enough time to invite people over to play a fighting game. Like, come
Yeah.
sit on my couch.
yeah, comes
Doesn't
full
happen
circle
as
to our necessity of time, right?
Mhm.
It's like there's a whole roster of people. Each one of them has their own little idiosyncrasies that you have to get down. It's like when you use X move, and
And
but
there's some.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, there's something impersonal about. I've never really enjoyed playing fighting games online.
No, me neither.
Yeah, for server issues, lag.
Exactly. I hate having that crutch of always thinking that the reason I'm losing is because some guy out there is out lagging me right now.
Right, and not only that, but the impersonality of it too. The fact that they're not sitting right next to you. And
I can't hear their shit. I
Right.
can't hear as they cry as I beat them.
right. That's important.
Yeah,
it's an
exactly.
important
It
facet.
sells the whole
Of the fighting game.
experience.
That's true. Yeah. But fighting games are great. I love them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ultimate difficulty, really. It's like
Yeah.
everything else is just an extra icing on the cake because anything that comes along in terms of PVE can be mastered through just understanding the context of the world, right? But to understand the full contextualizations of another person fully, and not just another person, everyone. Just because it's a rotating roster of people, you never know depending on what game that you're going to be playing. Because last time you could have gone, 27-3, and then really just been playing noobs the whole time and not known it. And the next time you're going against somebody that you're the noob to them, and it's like it's just the continual pecking order of the chickens, just back and forth.
Yeah, it doesn't. I feel like when you play, just an example of fighting games, when you play them online, you don't get that same ability to sharpen. You know what I mean? Because you're not. Because when you play a fighting game against somebody else, not against an AI, you're learning them through their character on the screen. You have to watch how they dodge things. What attacks are they going for? What you learn kind of what player they are.
Exactly, the personality behind the digital avatar begins to show itself. It's like, are you an offensive person that's just gonna come running out the gate? Are you a turtle? Are you the kind of person that goes around the edges of the map, trying to pounce on people?
Yeah, there's as fun as Modern Warfare 2 or Destiny or some other kind of PvP, more modern PvP type shooter. That type of I don't know. Maybe that's just what it is that I like my friends and I would prefer to fight them, on the digital playground than I would prefer to fight another person. But then when I think about it, that's just for fighting games. I don't mind playing other games online with people. That's an interesting thing. I wonder why it's only fighting games. It's got to be something about how personal it is. Like, they're right next to you. You get to shit talk. You can hear their buttons clicking.
Right. Yeah. I mean, fighting games and racing games were like the proverbial, you come over to my house and we hang out kind of thing. That I think at this point is just like anatomical to us. It's just like that's our bodies just need, like, if we're going to be doing that thing, like, our bodies need that other warm body next to us, to have that same kind of feeling. Like, because actually, to go off my own point, is the racing games, it's like they can be difficult online, and I don't feel that same kind of weird lag issue when it comes to racing games online, but it feels so boring, just being the only person in the room going through, and there's nothing else happening. At least when you have another person, they're going through another issue. Maybe they just crashed, you just crashed. Like, listening to them caused you to crash. Like, there's a whole bunch of extra variables out in the air that just add to the fun, which is, again, hopefully the main point of why we even come to the arena of video games in the first place. you know. But
Yeah.
once again, that's assuming that we know exactly what other people want.
Dude, I know.
Yeah.
Without
I've
a doubt.
peopled, yeah.
Without a doubt. That's why we have 10,000 subscribers, and that's why we're only going up and up.
Up and up. Yep. I believe it.
Well, hey man, let's never stop talking about video games.
I think we can keep the topics flowing forever, really, as long as we really keep thinking about it as we're playing video games, which we're not gonna stop doing. So
right, and like we were talking about doing that, starting that series up.
oh right, trying to get more into the deeper levels of individual video games, parsing them out.
Because we've talked about, I don't know, 50 video games maybe in this podcast so far.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we could go into each one of those for, I don't know, another hour or two.
Hour a piece,
For
yeah.
sure.
I mean, if a video game gives me 60 hours worth of pleasure, I'm sure I can speak about a minute worth of every single one of those hours to round that off to a strong hour of good content.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we're winding down yet again. We've hit all the high points of the difficulties of why we love what we love, and I think that's just gonna have to be it for us again. Check us out, Twitter, Patreon. If you want to give us $1, that'd be great.
We'll buy a microphone.
Oh hell yeah! You know, right now we're using like a little tin cup with each other.
With the string.
Exactly. You have no idea the difficulties that we're dealing with right now keeping these two cups in the string.
It's got to be
level.
a tight string or the sound just won't. It won't
Yeah,
go
we're like
through.
10, 15 feet away from each other.
And
that's the
honestly-
magic of audio.
Honestly, I'm tired of eating baked beans. I don't want to eat any more baked beans.
So yeah, give us money, give us subscriptions, give us something. God damn it!
Yeah, give us a like, give us a whatever.
Yeah, give us hate. You know, like we've got nothing.
Fucking shit on us, because that would be the best thing.
Honestly, really, like we've been talking about the specifics of so many games that maybe you just hate. Yeah, like we maybe don't know what the fuck we're talking about, and we would really love to be taught by a strong sensei like you.
That's right.
So until then, have a good day and good night.
Good night.